Welcome, I'm Ingrid, and I am so happy to have you here today. We are going to play with some stamps today. I have a ton of stamps that I've been gathering for years, and I don't seem to use them. So today I'm just going to take a piece of some freezer paper, and then I'm going to make some ephemera. So the reason I'm using freezer paper, you can also use parchment paper. It's because, as you can see here, I have some tape that I've done with you guys before. And I'll link that down in the description below this video so that you have it. I think I have a video for it anyways. If not, leave a comment below and I will make another video. But I think we do have a video for this. Anyways, you can stick it down to the paper, whether it's parchment or freezer, and it'll peel off. So you can see here, sometimes they'll give you like a little bit of trouble and stick to them, but for the most part, they'll peel right off. And then also, I'm going to be using some StazOn. For those of you that don't know what StazOn is, it's kind of, if I had to put it in words, it's what the inside of a Sharpie is. So it's real stinky. It's a permanent ink, and you don't want to get it on anything that you love because it'll probably stay. I'm also going to try out the Ranger archival ink, but I don't think this is going to stick. I believe this rubs off, so we're going to play around with it. And I'm just grabbing some masking tape as well as this gum tape, and I'll have this listed down below. It's in my Amazon storefront where you can get some. I love this stuff. It's tape that has like, I don't know if you can see that shine right there, but that's adhesive. And so when you wet this, it becomes like goopy, and then this will adhere to whatever, and it's a really strong glue. But I love the color of it. I love the paper consistency of it, and so I thought we would play with that. I also have some of this tape, which I've had for a long time. It's just regular tape, and it's kind of got a glossy finish on it, so we'll try this one out as well. The reason we're doing this, by the way, is because we can make a lot of really fun ephemera using tape. Tape is a great finishing piece for any cluster that you make, and we will do one at the end of the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a few pieces of tape, and I'm just going to stick them on. And as far as this stuff goes, I'm not going to be able to do that, but what I will do is I'm going to cut it down, and then I'm going to use the masking tape to hold it down. I wanted to focus on, and I apologize in advance, I am not going to know the names of any of these stamps. Like I said, I've had stamps for a long time that I don't really use, but I've collected throughout my scrapbooking and journaling journey. And they're just ones that I love and I've kept around, and so I thought it would be a great time to use them. So I'm going to focus on numbers right now, and I'm just going to put some numbers together. Okay, we're going to start off with the archival because I don't think it's going to work. We're going to give that time to dry. Oops. The good thing about cling stamps is you can see through them, so you can kind of bypass any errors. I can tell right there that's not sticking. I'll go ahead and do it for demonstration purposes, but I'm thinking that it's not going to stick on here either. I'm going to use this little, and remember when you are doing stamps, it's going to be backwards when you're building it, when you're building it on your acrylic pad. It's going to be the opposite of what you think. So I'm just going to take that, and I'm going to put it upside down so that I can see them. Let's take a 5. And then I'm going to take a 7. And I don't care that they're not lined up perfectly. If that's something that bothers you, you can use an acrylic block that has grid on it, or there's also other stamping tools that will help you. I don't have any of those. Where'd that 3 go? There it goes. The negative about stamps, if you're like me, then you misplace them. Oops. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on fast forward mode while I just play around, and I'm just going to start building this up. I'm going to use some letters. I might use some script. I think that would be a lot of fun. And I'm just going to cover these, and then once we're done with that, then I will go through and I'll test these out to see if they smear or if they stay put, and then we will build a little tagger page together. You can see that I never even used these. They weren't even cut apart. And I'm kind of thinking of this like a master board so that it doesn't really matter once I cut it up. So for example, here I have 2 and then /5/7. I can actually just use the 7, just the 5, just the 5/7, you know, therefore it gives you a lot of versatility. So I put the stamps back together better than I thought, except I'm missing now the number 4. So I'm sure it's stuck onto something, and these don't want to stick that well anyway, so it's probably like down there somewhere. If anyone has any tips on stamping and getting your stuff back to stick back the cling stamps on the little acetate that it has, or any other tips for that, leave them down below. I'd love to know. I'm very novice at stamping, and which is probably why I don't do it. So let's go ahead and test these out. So my fingers are somewhat not that dirty. Hold on. Well, actually, I'm not going to put sanitizer on them yet. So you can see if I push hard, it's going to smear. These do not, but I feel like it's not that big of a deal. So I think you can definitely use those. So let's go ahead and work on a page. I've got this little booklet that I started probably on Instagram, and I think that's from my Cordelia kit. I'm not really sure. So let's go here. And I'm going to be using, let's actually move this out of the way. I'm going to be using elements from my latest kit, Primrose, because I have it on my desk already. I have these like baking trays, and I have just the kit that I'm working on the side of my desk. That way I can keep pulling from it. And let's see. I'm just gonna pull some stuff, and then we'll see what we'll use. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with those. I also have some freebies from my Patreon, and I was doing just quick prints to just test the colors and everything. So I have these elements that are copied onto just copy paper. And if you're interested in my Patreon, if you like printables, it's actually a great place. I give lots of printables over there. And there's, I think I started it in October, so there's at least one set for every month, I think. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crinkle it a little, or a lot. Let's tear it and add, where was this tape right here? We'll add a little piece of this. And I'm going to grab, I think, the walnut or vintage photo. And I'm just going to darken the paper a little bit because this one is so light. And I'm barely adding any color, but so I'm going to start just adding some pieces. I cut this card down a little. And I have no plan in mind. I'm just going to start layering some pieces. I don't know where my middle is. Oh, I see. This is not bound. It is kind of bound. Okay. The Primrose kit is perfect for projects because it is tags, and it's meant to be an interactive tag book that you can make a project with in an afternoon or a weekend. I just kind of messed up because I was trying to show you, but whenever there's a bigger hole, I like to go in and just use my hole punch and cut around it, but I moved it and I cut too much right here, but that's okay. And then I think for my focal point, I'm going to, yeah, I think I'll do a flower. And I'm going to round the corners. We're gonna go right here. So I know for sure I want this little cluster. I think that that's cute. I'm gonna add my 2 staples. Now I'm gonna take some of the tape and I'm gonna show you how we're going to build this up. I'm gonna go ahead and glue. I'm just going to add some glue right there. That way, if I need to tuck any pieces in, I still can. I'm going to grab I think we'll just do, let's do this Cherish. And I think it takes up a little too much space, so I'm going to cut out the tag and make it a little smaller. That's the great thing about printables, is that you can customize them to fit your needs, and you don't have to feel bad about cutting them up or about altering them, because you can always print them again and then you have a brand new piece. I know for me, that's something that I struggled with, especially early on with some of my stuff that like you couldn't find again. So if you used it up, that was it. And that was very stressful for me. Obviously, you know, not one of life's most important stresses, but you know, in creating, it was stressful. And with digitals, I don't have to worry about that. Now, let's go ahead and I think I'm going to add a little bit of both. I think I like this. And then I'm going to add maybe the cream, because I have cream up here. We're going to try that out. So this is taking up a little bit of the freezer paper. I'm going to grab some of my paint water back here. And so I just added just a little bit with my finger. And now I can put it on. I could have distressed this also. That would have been nice. Maybe we'll do that for the next one. And then on this tag, I want it crumbled and distressed. Now, a lot of times when I think I've said this before, but when I'm creating, this is a pretty good glue, the art glitter glue, but if I'm creating a cluster like this and it's thick and heavy, I'll use score tape instead to hold it down. And there we go. We can actually think about maybe adding, no, we're gonna leave it. It's gonna add a little more, but we'll let it go. All right, let's do another quick one. Since I already have this cut out, let's start with this as the base. And I'm gonna try not to think too much about this and just go. The only thing that I'm looking at here is what colors would coordinate well with the other side. And I feel like I'm mainly going with pinks, so I'm gonna pick this girl. This little cutie right here. Now, I do want something to anchor her because as you can see here, she's kind of floating, if that makes sense. I'm gonna, since I have this sitting here, I'm gonna see how I don't think there's enough interest on this side for that, so I'm going to grab it's too much. Maybe I'll add some book page. Now I am going to take my scissors. I could have done this before, but I'm going to distress her a little bit. Oops. Kind of distress all my edges just a little. Look how quick that page came together. And now we're going to add a number. I like this color. So I really like that right here, this 5 with the small 2. What's nice about working with that freezer paper is you can just stick it right back down. You don't have to worry about it. Like sometimes if I have tape, I'll stick it to the side of my desk. And I think this. The awesome thing about this tape is that since it's not adhered, it gives me more wiggle room. I think that's too much. Let's try something with a smaller element. What about this just caught my eye, but I think I like that. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to glue it down with the glue. And then I think we're gonna add just a little word here somewhere. Why don't we, let's see, church. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out this believe without the tag. Like that. I'm going to fold that little and just dress it. Okay, and I think we're done. So you can see how much those little numbers can add to a page. And what's a really great thing about this project is you can mass make rolls of this tape, or you can take a big piece. This is what I usually do with my altered tape, is I'll take a big piece of it and then I'll just line it up and create it all. And so this is a really great project for you to do when you are watching TV or doing something else, that if you're listening to an audiobook, something like that, where you can just stamp out. And think of it like a master board where you don't need to have everything precise. And when you cut it out, it's really great. Like this, you know, I just cut pieces out. So I hope that you enjoyed this little tutorial journal with me this morning. I am so happy to have you. I am so glad that that you're here with me today, and I hope that you have a blessed day until we see each other again. Bye.